So this method of the French felt doesn't use any tapes, adhesives. All you're going to use is pins to kind of set up your lineup. This, the most important part, is don't sew through a pin. It's happened to me before. You'll break needles, you'll destroy your fabric. So again, I already have my gauge set here with just tape piled up, and it's at 3/8 of an inch. You could do whatever width you want. But you're going to take your lower fabric and line it up on the edge of the one side of the tape. Take the other fabric, which is the white fabric here, and you're going to line it up right on the top of the ridge of the other side of the gauge. So it's hard to see. I could feel it, but now I should have a 3/8 inch gap between the raw edge here and the raw edge here. Now this is where it gets hard, just starting it. You're going to take this fabric and just fold it over. And you're just going to drop a pin. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the better you get, the better it'll turn out. And you could kind of verify it by just dropping it into the channel, and you'll feel left and right side. I know I'm through all the layers of the fabric. And you'll just continue that through the piece. So you could use the gauge, you could eyeball it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to space this out quite a bit. You could put the pins as close or as far away as you want. Doesn't matter. The closer they are, the better it's going to sew out. Just the more pins you're going to have to worry about. I mean, you could go feet if you really want, but just the further you go, the harder it's going to be to sew. All right. So I've dropped some pins in there. You could do more or less, doesn't matter. And then, just like with the other methods, you're going to roll it in a sense, but without rolling the entire seam. You're just going to pull over the top fabric and line it up with the raw edge there. Now you can kind of see how easy it'd be to sew a needle in there. Starting's always the hardest part. Get it in the track, line it up, and since you're using needles in there, use the hand wheel, drop the needles down into the fabric. Then you want to make sure to remove the closest needle. Pull some tension back so it stays lined up. Remove the needle, set it to the side. And as you can see, the more I pull, the straighter the fabric becomes, and that's where you'll get your lineup. So I'm holding right by the other pin, on top of the pin, getting everything into that track. So you'll continue up until you get to the next needle, and same thing. You're going to pull it out, and if your needles are really close, you don't need to worry about pinching or holding while you're doing this, because as you pull tight, it's just going to naturally line up. So you pull tight, get the excess fabric out, make sure it's the width of your gauge, and sew through again. You can pull pins out early, doesn't matter. I've ran out of pins, but that's no big issue. Finish off this seam. So this seam, there's a lot less bulk in it, a lot less take up with it. And as you can see, everything's going through. It's borderline on the going through all the layers, but still goes through all the layers of the fabric. Backside, same thing. and that's that method.